So let's talk about the failing CNN, which I love to talk about failing because, of course, after the political demise of the bad orange man, CNN have got very little to say, and nobody really wants to hear them. And so they have to go after, say, Tucker Carlson constantly, which is what Brian Stelter recently did. Now, Brian Stelter is my favourite fat CNN gremlin. He obviously is someone who is just a corporate mouthpiece, a total shill, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hammer the point home too hard. But this is the sort of position that really makes you wonder, like, whose interests is Brian defending? But so this was him complaining because, as we covered last week, Tucker Carlson had pointed out that actually, if a load of people who are involved in the Capitol riots haven't been charged, that makes it sound like they may well have been collaborators, and this is something that should be investigated. And Brian Stelter wasn't happy with this. He whines that Tucker pointed out that a bunch of people from January the 6th were likely feds. Prove him wrong, Brian, if you don't like it. This completely bogus conspiracy theory is everywhere. How is it bogus? It's not bogus until you prove that they aren't feds, right? Because otherwise the implication is either the Biden government just has a particular reason to not prosecute any of these people, or there's some other thing going on. But Fox just replied to this saying, just shut up. Basically, it's an opinion show. We don't answer to CNN. And so this had Brian Stelter going, oh, that Fox is rotten from top to bottom. It's a propaganda operation, which I find a highly ironic charge coming from CNN. But as you can imagine, this is all informed by the desperate jealousy that they have against Fox News, because Fox News are smashing it. And again, like, honestly, I never thought I would have reason to praise Fox News or Fox News hosts, but it's just the weird way that politics has gone, that Fox News are actually saying things that are sensible sometimes, occasionally, Tucker Carlson in this particular case, and CNN are just full of nonsense. And so it's amusing to watch them fail, and fail they are. I mean, CNN's reliable sources with Brian Stelter failed to attract even 1 million viewers for 11 straight weeks, and averaged 752,000 on last Sunday, for their smallest audience of 2021. So it's just a downward decline for Brian Stelter.
And the whole network.
Yeah, we'll get to the
Trump's gone, so...
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But specifically for Brian Stelter, doing his level best to defend the great and powerful in the Democratic Party, it turns out it's not very popular. Stelter, who claims to cover the media industry but often ignores stories that would tarnish the reputation of a fellow Liberal, lost 5% of his viewers compared to the previous week. So he's just going straight down. And in the same time slot, which is Stelter's direct competition, is Fox News' Media Buzz, which averaged 1.1 million viewers, which beat CNN by 41%. What are you doing wrong, CNN? Fox News aired 12 different programs on Sunday alone that attracted a larger audience than Brian Stelter. What are you doing wrong? So yeah, this also fails to attract in what they call the crucial demographic of adults aged 25 to 54 for 10 straight weeks. It doesn't even get 200,000 viewers in that demographic. So it's a bunch of old Democrat boomers who are watching Brian Stelter. 500,000 of them. Just anyway. So this of course was dismal turnout, and he gets, you know. I was going to say popular figures, but that's not the right way to put it.
Acceptable?
No, important figures like Jen Psaki, who he did a very nice chummy interview with, and that didn't even break 800,000 viewers. So sucks for him. And this drew the ire of Joe Rogan. Now, it's because Brian Stelter had criticised Joe Rogan that I think Joe Rogan paid attention to this. But apparently, on the latest episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, I don't use Spotify, so I didn't see it. The Rogan basically pointed out that YouTube personalities like him were getting more viewers than CNN, and they were complaining that this was some horrible thing. He says they were describing it as if they're entitled to viewers. This is because the market has spoken, and your show's effing terrible. Brian Stelter's show keeps slipping and slipping in the ratings, and same with Don Lemon's. It's the same thing. Everybody knows they're not real. They're not real humans. I mean, that's like physically true in the case of Brian Stelter, who's obviously a goblin. But Don Lemon might well just be a corporate puppet. But he's making a good point. Like they have an artificial position, because what they have to defend is this kind of left-leaning neoliberal corporate consensus, and it doesn't appeal to anyone. It only appeals to the people who are directly involved in that sort of, I don't know, I don't want to just say cathedral, but that is essentially what it is. And anyone outside of that, just living a regular life, just looks at Don Lemon and Stelter and what's the Chris Cuomo, like they're so obviously bought and paid for men, right? They don't. Who do they appeal to? They appeal to nobody. But Rogan particularly singled out Stelter, failing to ask any pressing questions in his interview with Jen Psaki. How about Brian Stelter talking to the press secretary saying, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? Hey, mother effer, you're supposed to be a journalist. Is he? No, meant to be a journalist. Does anyone think of Brian Stelter as a journalist? Brian Stelter, to me, seems like a containment man. Someone who's got to desperately rebuff and like diffuse any allegations against the ruling power. Anyway, and don't get me wrong, right? Fox News did the same thing for Donald Trump and the Republicans, and he does that for the Democrats. There's no question of it. It's just partisan defense at this point.
The Fox doesn't lie about it.
Yeah, Fox doesn't lie about it.
It's like, yeah, we're a right-wing machine.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. When do they ever deny that allegation? Yes, that is
Like, they're
the
proud
case.
of it.
Yeah. Because anyway, this had. I mean, Joe Rogan makes a good point. If he was an interesting guy, if he had his own podcast and he could be himself, but let's be honest, who wants to hear from Brian Stelter's podcast? No one. Anyway, so this all came because Stelter had a pop at Rogan. Who I love this. He said Rogan's going he's going anti-woke for the ratings. It's like, really?
What an endorsement of being anti-woke.
Yeah, people watch you. Everyone loves it.
Yeah, the woke position, really unpopular. Why? Well, the pro-segregation for one.
Yeah, there are so many reasons, but the point is, if that's the case, why are you going woke? You know, what master are you serving by going woke? Because you'd think that a media company would be like, okay, well, we've got to work on our ratings. Okay, well, what are you going to do? We're going to browbeat people for being white and male and not being losers, actually, homeowners, various other things. I mean, this in particular was when when Joe Rogan pointed out, look, if you follow this line of logic to its inevitable conclusion, they'll literally say that white men won't be allowed to talk, which is incidentally the sort of theme that we're going to be covering in the third segment in a bit, because that is where this is going. There's like literally no whites because they're racists. So didn't really help out Brian Stelter, and there's been interesting news with Don Lemon as well. And I love watching the desperation here, right? So Don Lemon tweets out this announcement when he's on his treadmill, going, "Oh, I've got a big announcement. Something big's going on. It's important." And it's like, okay, your ratings are going down as well. Got it. You need to tease something out. And he on his show put up a clip that implied that he was leaving, and it was, oh my god. And so you can see like people clip this and put it on the internet going, Don Lemon announces he's leaving CNN tonight. Oh my goodness. And it turns out it was a very impressive fake out. Don Lemon puts up another clip going, oh, I don't know why you think I'm leaving. Why do you think I'm leaving? I'm not leaving. Don't be silly. I've got an announcement to make on my show. And it turned out that the announcement was he's renaming his show. I mean, I was gutted. I was looking forward to him leaving CNN, see what he did next. But yeah, as USA Today report, Don Lemon caused a stir on the internet as this was just a really cheap ratings grab.
They did a Family Guy.
Really cheap.
They killed Brian and then brought him back.
Yes. Unbelievably cheap. So he's not being cancelled, he's being renamed. I didn't mean to set the internet on fire. What I said last night was true, he wrote. CNN Tonight with Don Lemon is no more. I'll be back on Monday with my newly named show, Don Lemon Tonight. Bravo, Don. I can see why CNN is failing. But anyway, so Fox News have been reveling in the failure of I suppose their primary competition. And every time their ratings come out and they're bad, Fox News puts up a nice article saying, hey, their ratings suck. And they don't even mention their own ratings as the thing. Because everyone knows their ratings are way better. But to be honest with you, it's probably due to the media ecosphere and the fact that Fox News is the pretty much only major right-wing news source. And it's going to be the same in Britain with GB News.
Sure, that's a good advantage they've got, but also when you add up all the corporate media, it doesn't actually equal them either. That's the problem they've got. Like, just on a base level, they're not popular. Like, that's the problem CNN and all the rest of them have got.
Well, again, they have to ask themselves, what constituency are we defending? And it's, of course, the sort of woke internationalist Democrat position. that everyone hates. But no, sorry, they don't hate. They love in overwhelming numbers. Just look at Joe Biden's voting. Anyway, yeah, so Fox News reveling in CNN failing. Don Lemon tonight averaged a measly 816,000 viewers, so at least he's doing better than Brian Stelter, which was an 11% decrease. And this overall, from when... Oh no, I'll go to the next one actually. So yeah, this has been in steep decline since the beginning of the year, when his show averaged 3.48 million viewers during the week of the Capitol Hill riot, marking a 77% decline in his viewership from January. Without Orange Man, no one wants to hear from you. So this
77%.
Man, that's awful.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the power of Orange Man. That's his power.
Yeah.
Like, he is the most entertaining man on planet Earth, and Biden is just not.
Biden, well, that's not
It's
true.
not even entertainment. It's the inspiring nature and all the rest of it. Like,
Yeah.
he's got no characteristics whatsoever, in my view.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I
he's
like
got
the
the cringe
Biden
things
gaps.
of, like, touching children and whatever
Sniffing.
else. Yeah, all of that stuff. But otherwise, he's just nothing. Like, he might as well be a ghost.
But they're really feeling the hit is the good news. But this just comes as an overall ratings decline for CNN, which is nice to see. As Adweek point out, CNN shed 11% in average total primetime viewers, minus 21% in the primetime demo for the previous month. Network saw a steeper drop in total day viewing, down 22% in total viewers and 28% in the key 25 to 54 demographic. This trend isn't surprising, with wall-to-wall coverage of the Chauvin murder trial carried CNN daytime ratings during April. Not having a comparable news event to broadcast in May hurt their ratings, and more so than Fox News or MSNBC, whose audiences tend to stick with them regardless of the news cycle. This is...
Well, that's interesting as well. Like, there's no reason to watch CNN.
No.
Just when something's up, that's when it's interesting.
What does corporate America think? Well, ask CNN. What's their opinion? You know, don't read these WikiLeaks leaks, but they've got special dispensation.
What was the quote? It's illegal to have access to this?
Yeah, it's illegal to have the WikiLeaks documents, but we can do it. You have to come through us to get them. It's like, Chris, come on, that's such obvious, transparent cope, frankly. But anyway, so compared to the news-heavy month of May 2020, which was CNN's most watched May ever, the network was down by 45% in average total primetime audience, and 53% in its the prime demo audience. And so that's really, really bad. Really bad. So failing CNN is a completely true way of categorizing it. Donald Trump, probably right overall, and they've got nothing to talk about without the evil Orange Man. Sucks to be them.
I mean, just imagine your entire platform, everything you talk about. I mean, literally your entire world depends on Orange Man.
Or a massive race grift. I mean, if George Floyd dies, you're thinking, great, that's brilliant, that's ratings for us.
That's propaganda, as their own guys called it.
Yeah.
Remember the Project Veritas leaks?
They did.
Oh, boy.
And without that, CNN have got very little to do or say.
Yeah, I remember there was some let's say, left-leaning commentators who were all, like, giddy when the say 6 a.m. came in, and it looked like Biden was going to win, and they were like, haha, all of the right's going to be destroyed, because without Trump, they've got nothing, they're just going to wither and die. And it's like, no, the opposite. Literally, all of the corporate left is going to wither and die.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason for them to stick around.
Yeah, I mean, you can always listen to Rachel Maddow's conspiracy theories on MSNBC. They're probably more entertaining, to be honest. I mean, it's
You know,
like
if I worked there, I'd start leaving, like, just Russian gifts around the place. Just start freaking around. Like buying Russian chocolates or, like, little notes.
just
writing them.
notes written in Russian.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be funny. We're not saying do that, though, if you work at MSNBC. If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 p.m. UK time on lotuseaters.com.